Welcome to the What Bitcoin Did podcast.
Hi there from Indianapolis. How are you all? It's my first time in the city. Cool place. Having a great time. Anyway, welcome to the What Bitcoin Did podcast, which is brought to you by the mighty Kraken, the best place to buy, sell, and trade Bitcoin. I'm your host, Peter McCormack, and today I've got an interview with Nelson Minier, the Wall Street veteran who is now heading up Kraken's OTC desk. But before that, I've got a message from my badass sponsors. Make sure you check them out. It is the sponsors that pay for me to do all this, to get all these amazing interviews. So first up, we have Wire. Have you checked them out yet? They've been sponsoring the podcast for over a month now. Have you taken the time to check them out? Come on, do us a solid. Go and have a look at what they are doing. Wire have been helping companies across the space offer Bitcoin onboarding. So whether you are a solo developer or you're a large team, if you want to simplify user onboarding, if you want to offer your users a fast and easy way to purchase Bitcoin, then you have to talk to Wire. Since 2013, the Wire have focused on taking care of all of the heavy lifting, all those pain in the ass things like compliance, payments, and liquidity, so you can focus on building your core offering. If you're working on the next killer app, don't fuck it up. Do not let the regulators kill it. If you want to find out more, reach out to Wire or create a developer account at sendwire.com, which is sendwire.com. Also, we have the amazing Dropbit, the best mobile wallet in the space, and Dropbit have been killing it. I was out in Ohio this week. I was catching up with the team, feeding back them ideas that I've got from you and trying to convince them to get me a Lambo. So, have you downloaded it yet? They've got so many cool things they've been doing. They've recently added Lightning. They've added support for Best32 addresses. They've added support for onboarding where you can buy Bitcoin directly in the app. You can tweet Bitcoin. You can text Bitcoin. You can do so many things with this app. They've absolutely killed it. So if you want me to get a Lambo, definitely go and download the app. The more of you download it, the more likely... I'm only kidding. All right, so if you've also got it and you haven't got access to your Lightning wallet, hit me up on Twitter, DM me, I will send you some stats. I will get you into your Lightning wallet. It's available for the iPhone, on Android. Just head over to dropbit.app, which is DROPBIT.app. And lastly, a big shout out to my man Leon and his conference Advancing Bitcoin, which I will be MC for. This isn't a paid ad. I just know Leon is doing some great stuff with this conference and I want to help ensure that it is a sellout. The event is in London on February the 6th and 7th. There will be amazing speakers such as Andrew Polstra, who's twice been on my show, Andrew Chow, Jimmy Song, Nicolas Dorier, and lots of companies in the space. Blockstream, Chaincode Labs, Square Crypto, Wasabi Wallet, and others. So if you want to come to London, you want to hang out, you want to get some fish and chips and have a cup of tea, then make sure you come to Advancing Bitcoin. If you want to find out more, head over to advancingbitcoin.com and use the discount code PETER to get 10% off. Okay, so onto the show today, and I am joined by Nelson Minier, who is an absolute badass. He's a Wall Street veteran. He spent over 20 years working at the likes of Bear Stearns, JP Morgan, and Credit Suisse, but he caught the Bitcoin bug. He left Wall Street and moved over to Kraken to head up their OTC desk. I met Nelly in Vegas earlier this year. He took me out for lunch, and we chatted shit for hours. Really got on with the guy. Really enjoyed talking to him about Bitcoin and, various other things. Life, love, everything else. So I knew I wanted him on the show. I've wanted him on for a while. So when I was in New York, I was like, Nelly, come on, man, let's do this. And he agreed. So this is the show we made. And listen, look, while Bitcoin is easily the most liquid cryptocurrency, compared to other traditional markets, it's still fairly illiquid. So if you're looking to place a large order, you can really affect the price of the market. And this is where the OTC desks come in. The OTC desks facilitate these large trades, and Nelson manages it for Kraken. So in this interview, Nelson and I get into what it's like to operate an OTC desk, his life on Wall Street, how he heard about Bitcoin, his work at Kraken, and what the institutional investors think about Bitcoin. Got any questions about the show? You can hit me up. It's hello@whatbitcoindid.com. As you know, I'm out in the States right now. Tomorrow, I'm going to be heading out to Austin for a couple of days, then San Francisco, then LA, maybe Hawaii, back to Washington, into New York, and then home. So many interviews planned, so much good stuff coming up. Also, have you checked out my other show, Defiance, yet? It's at defiance.news. So many cool interviews up there. Please do go and check that out. As I said, any questions, feel free to hit me up. Nelson, man, great to see you again.
Mr. McCormack, how are you, my man? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me here in the great city of New York.
Yeah, this is where it's at.
It's a beautiful day. It's cold, but but sunny, which is nice, man.
Yeah, that's one of the things about New York. Come around December, January. I want to head back to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Where I'm originally from.
I went for a run this morning. Ended up on the High Line and just because I was thinking, where am I going to run? Because it's just blocks, and I thought I'd go all the way down to the sidewalk by, where you can see Jersey.
Yeah. So on the Hudson. You're running right on the Hudson, West Side Highway.
Yeah, that's it. But I ended up getting to the High Line and taking a run down there.
Isn't that awesome?
It's amazing what they've done there.
Me and my buddies, we used to go down there and hang out, and it was a place to go drink some 40s and stuff like that. I would have never thought in 1,000 years that they would be that's the coolest neighborhood in all of New York. It used to be a dump.
Yeah, it's lovely, man. Well, but that's happened to all of New York, right? Because when I first came to New York, I came the year after 9/11. So was that 2002?
Yeah.
And I went to Brooklyn with a local, somebody we met, and it wasn't the safest place to go to.
Yeah.
But Brooklyn is now.
No, Williamsburg is something.
Yeah.
Those are the two areas. If you look at where the High Line and that whole west side, and now in Williamsburg, those are the two places that are shocking. When I was growing up, I had a girlfriend out there in Williamsburg, by Metropolitan, and I remember I used to run to the train station because I was scared. And after dinner, I would go spend dinner with her family, and I would run to this train station to get to the Bronx just because I was scared I was going to get my tail kicked.
Well, what's happened? Is it just too many people in the city now, and they've had to move out? Is it investment?
And I think the whole hipster thing is pretty cool to go out there in Brooklyn and kind of be with with a lot of ethnicity and stuff like that out there. And there's a lot of different foods, a lot of cultures over there, and I thought it became pretty cool. I didn't think it was going to happen like that, but it's been amazing to see. Corners that you would never catch yourself dead at after midnight, or got Louis Vuitton stores you could go shopping at now. It's amazing.
And you say the Bronx is the same, because I was up there last night.
Yeah, by Mott Haven. Mott Haven it was bad up there, Mott Haven one time, and now it's sort of like the next area that's kind of moving up.
Right.
And also Staten Island, you're starting to see with the ferry, there's a lot of gentrification that's happening. That's pretty cool.
What about up in Harlem? I've never been up there. I haven't even been to Yankee.
Yeah, but Harlem's been pretty cool for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harlem's not what the Harlem was, I say late 80s. That was the first place to kind of start coming around.
And did you spend your entire childhood in the...
No. I grew up, I started in the Bronx, got in a little trouble in high school. My parents ended up moving. We moved up to Connecticut. But I've always had family down here, so I would spend, Christmases, Thanksgivings, always around the Bronx and the Bronx area. That's sort of like our home.
I think New York's one of those really amazing special cities. This is like my 15th time here. I got engaged here, actually.
Wow.
I love the city. It's just got this just amazing vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah,
it really does. Even when I go, they used to send me to Dominican Republic for the summers, just to hang out and stay out of trouble. And it's amazing how quickly you start missing New York when you do that.
Did you stay out of trouble in Dominican?
No. It's tough to stay out of trouble. I'm still getting in trouble.
Well, listen, man, it's great to see you again.
Yeah.
I think last time I saw you was about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago.
Yeah, Bitcoin was at a different price for sure.
Well, it was in Vegas. What were we there for? I can't even remember.
We were unconfiscatable. Tom Bezos' gig.
So was that last February?
Yeah, I think so. It was like...
Or was that this year?
No, it wasn't this year. It was last year.
Are you sure? We're definitely not being like...
But I might be mixing them up. I have to think about it.
He's just re-announced the next one, and I think it's in February.
He's been sending emails. I've been getting ready to sign up for it, yeah.
That would be mad if it was 8 months ago, because it feels like a lot's happened.
Well, a lot has happened for you, buddy. Now trying to get in contact with you, I gotta talk to your admin's admin to get in touch with you, my man.
You can message me. Come on, you can message me. I've just been a noisy bastard on Twitter and getting in fights and stuff like that. But I think it's been a lot's happened, man. Anyway, before we get into that, I'll tell you what we should do. Let's do the backstory, because you told me when we were in Vegas, you took me for lunch, and you gave me the backstory how before you became a Bitcoiner, before you started working for Kraken, you were a Wall Street guy, right?
Yeah, I was originally an engineer, and then I moved over to Wall Street when I saw my buddies. Like, they were, kids that I went to engineering school with that, they always used to tell me, Nelly, you should think about trading, you should think about Wall Street. But I was like, a guy that, I grew up around cars. My dad, you give us a rubber band and a paper clip, you think we could fix a Maserati, So I always grew up with that, getting my hands dirty. But then, I saw some of my buddies like working on Wall Street, and they were doing so well. They were going from studio apartments uptown to lofts downtown, and I'm like, wait a minute, dude, I used to help you with your homework. What am I doing wrong? And I thought I was doing great. And but they always tell me, Nelly, you should think about Wall Street, and they helped me a lot. And I started my career at Bear Stearns. And I was very fortunate that I landed in the credit derivatives group because I was an engineer. They put the math guys a little bit in the engineering group. And, we started off and it was just like an explosion of financial innovation, what was going on. And, I was sending out term sheets, working for being an assistant to a trader. And within a few months, they're like, dude, I can't handle this. Here, start trading these names. And before you knew it, I was trading and making markets. And that's how I started.
And what was that like when is it scary when you're first trading?
Oh, yeah, because you're throwing out numbers. Like, you're throwing out, here I am, scrimping money together to buy a sandwich, and then all of a sudden you're like 10 million yours, 20 million mine, and you're like throwing all these big numbers around and doing that, and you're worried, like, and your P&L swings, like you can lose a lot of money pretty quickly. You can make it, but you can equally lose it all. So you get used to it after time, and then it becomes like monopoly money almost. But was it scary to be going? Hell yeah! And I wanted to impress. It was a new business for me, something I knew, and then I had, you're surrounded with these people from, like great universities and with PhDs and all these things. So you're intimidated. You go in there and it humbles you a lot. Markets do humble you. But, you work hard, keep your nose to the grindstone, and good things happen. And I was very fortunate. I feel blessed in a lot of ways because those opportunities, the time, Bear Stearns itself, it was just a great place for entrepreneurs. And if you hustled and, you got a little lucky, you could do very well.
And how many years did you work on Wall Street?
I worked 20 years on Wall Street.
20
years, and I bounced around a while. I was a little bit of a mercenary. I went out, wherever the money was, I kind of went there. Like and back then it was like, if you knew credit derivatives, you were like a guy that was really wanted. And I was in emerging markets too, which was another kind of a unique experience set that you had. So I was well in demand until the end of my career. They pretty much wanted to push me out the door, but it was a good time because then I found Bitcoin.
Right, okay, so 20 years. Well, that's what I did in my previous career. I did 20 years advertising.
Right.
And there was a lot that I've done in advertising that's helped me in my new job.
Yeah.
Marketing and design and brand and,
Yeah.
packaging up a product. That's what's really helped me. That's probably why I'm a podcaster, not involved in trading or in exchange, right?
Right.
It kind of suits me to package up a product.
Yeah.
What were the key things that you were learning on Wall Street? What are the key lessons that you brought forward when you kind of made the transition into Bitcoin?
The volatility, because the thing that really attracted me to Bitcoin, like I had heard of it, right? I had a kid on the desk that we were trying to keep busy that, said, hey, Nelly, you mind if I look at Bitcoin? And I'm like, this kid, 50, 60 IQ points higher than mine, keeping him busy was just a full-time job for me. And, he says, let me look at this thing. And it was close to what we were doing. It was kind of a currency, something new, and people started talking about it, and he made a presentation on it. We talked about it. We did it in a group of people, and I was pretty psyched that he came to the same conclusion that I did. That I thought governments weren't going to let this exist. We're like, they're taking too much power away from government. Right. Like, there's no way this is going to happen. And you see what happened with Libra. Right, Libra, they come out a week later. The government's got a gun to Zuckerberg's head, saying, you stop this.
Yeah, but have you seen this Facebook Pay thing that's come out this week?
No, I didn't see it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so they've announced Facebook Pay. I haven't taken a proper look at it, but it seems to be a way of kind of buying and selling through the Facebook platform just with dollars. And I was kind of looking at that and thinking, well, why do you need Libra now?
Yeah, I think, their intention of establishing a stable coin that's not, debasable, or at least there's some diversification from debasement, I thought was interesting, right? Because if they were going to take a package of assets, whether treasuries and, maybe some foreign exchange currencies and, maybe some commercial paper or whatever they're going to use in a basket. So like that, it becomes maybe more stable than the dollar in a sense, right? Because you're not concentrated in this one asset that can get debased. I thought it would be interesting, but it was obvious, there's a reason why Satoshi got up and disappeared, right? You can't, Zuckerberg can't do that. And, to see it happen so quickly. And I think, when you're looking at it, it shows you how important it was for Satoshi to disappear, right? Because you don't have that guy that's going to be able to stop, right? And the other thing it highlighted to me was also, like, the Trojan horse of Bitcoin is that it's so difficult to understand. Right? It's like, it takes a while for everybody to understand it. You hear these politicians talking about it, and you realize they have no idea what it is. And that's good, because we get to run a little bit more with adoption. We got 10 years and they're still not awake. You know what I mean? That this
Yeah.
thing is going to take a lot of power from you guys, and they're not awake about it. So I think it was a very interesting experiment, and we
Dude,
had a
I'm
lot of
coming up-
internal discussions on it.
Dude, I'm coming up for 3 years and I still don't know fully what
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
forget about it. I mean, there's so many facets. Neither do I. Forget, I can help get started, and I got a bunch of books here in the apartment that I give away. I give Selffulfilling's book. I
Yeah.
give the little Bitcoin. That's the combination I give now. I give the Selffulfilling's Bitcoin Standard, and then I give the little Bitcoin book. Read the Standard first, then read the little Bitcoin, because it's going to answer all this stuff. Wasting electricity? Okay, well, not really. Check this out.
So when was it that this was happening? Do you remember what year that you guys were first looking at it?
Yeah, we were looking at it. I would say we were looking at it like 2013, and then I didn't get back into it till late 2015.
So you just dismissed it as...
Yeah, I thought there was no way. I said, government's going to come after this, man. That's where their power is. Like, that's why they could go to war. That's, they can just print money. Look at the deficit. We got trillions of dollars of deficits. That's how they do it. They print more money. Like, there's no way they're going to give up this power. Guys, wake up. So, and this kid that I don't know, he's probably off building rockets now, but he said he came to the same conclusion. So I stopped looking at it, but then the volatility came back, and I'm staring at Bloomberg, and now they're talking about this Bitcoin thing, and I'm a volatility junkie, right? And in the sense that, I traded Venezuela, for a lot of years, and that stuff moves not as much as Bitcoin, but it moves.
Yeah.
And, to see that volatility, and I think, okay, well, I think I could make some money on this thing. So I started looking at it from the, filling my pocket up sense. And then I started learning all this other stuff. And, I was just talking with Trace, and I call Bitcoin the great educator, because for me, it opened up all this other stuff. Like, I spent so much time on Wall Street. I had no idea what Austrian economics were. I had heard about it, but I still don't know the depth. I mean, I'm not going to work for the Mises Institute anytime soon. But I learned some of the basics and things like that, and you start learning about money and what's going on, and what how governments take advantage of the situation, and Bitcoin does that, and I'm just scratching the surface.
Look, I've been arguing all week on Facebook with my friends about socialism, because we've got the Brexit come in.
Yeah.
So we've got another election come in.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends who are Labour voters. They believe in Jeremy Corbyn. Some of them really stand by his socialist policies, and I'm now like a Bitcoiner, right?
Yeah.
I believe in Austrian economics, and I'm a bit of a libertarian. So I'm like I'm now arguing with them, and I'm arguing about the things I've learned about. Admittedly, not things I'm brave enough to take to Twitter yet. It takes me longer to learn these things. My opinions aren't as well-rounded as, say, like an
Well, you
Eric
think you can
Voorhees.
get trolled on Twitter? Come on, that doesn't happen.
Dude, I troll everyone. I just know what. It's just like, you've got some smart libertarians out there.
Yeah.
It's one like an Eric Voorhees, who I can sit and talk to for hours, but I can't defend libertarianism like he can. I can't have the same reasoned debates. But I can see small things that I think are not right. Like, for example, one of the arguments I was having with one person was saying, well, look, Jeremy Corbyn wants to bring free higher education in.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I have a problem with this, because those who choose not to take free higher education are being forced to pay for those who do.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, it's your choice. And I kept coming back to the point is that I'm not right or left. I'm saying what we should be working towards is less government. Less government, less taxes for all. But I feel like these are like the baby level 1 steps of all of this.
Yeah, but it opens you up to it. It opens you up. One of the things that, even working on Wall Street and following bonds, you learn that, this monetary policy stuff, all this money printing, what should I do to, take care of my wealth? And then you say, well, New York City apartments, they're scarce, they're this, they're that. But then you start doing the work, right? I live in New York City. And then you realize, wait a minute, my property taxes keep on going up higher. And there's not much I can do about it. Nope. I can get up and move, but can I really get up and move with my family here, raising, family here, kids going to school? And they keep raising them. And even the parking across the street. When I first moved here, I can park in the street. Now, if you go 1 minute over, there's a guy in a parachute that shows up to give you a ticket. It's a new form of tax collection. Right? Man. It's not like they're trying to reduce traffic and do all this stuff. I'm telling you, it's a form of tax collection, the way that's going on now.
Let me tell you a story, right? Before I came out, I got a speeding fine. Mm-hmm. I was caught doing, we have a thing called a dual carriageway, which is like a motorway, but 2 lanes, right? And it's a 60 mile an hour, and I think I was caught doing 71. Yeah, fair enough. Right. I'm over the limit. It comes in the post. I can't argue with it. I go online. I admit fault.
Yep.
I pay the fine, the £100 fine. I missed in the instructions where it said, you need to send your driving license in to us. Mm. So that was an honest mistake. About 2 months later, I get a letter in the post saying my fine has been refunded. I have a choice of going to court or the court making a decision for me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to court for this. Just make the decision for me. And they came back and they gave me a £600 fine. So what's that, like $800,
Wow.
$750, $800, just because of the fact that I missed something, right? Now, in my head, I was like, why didn't someone just give me a call and say, look, you haven't sent your driver's license in? Or they've got my email address, Nelson, because I've paid the fine.
Yeah.
You know, surely the system can trigger a letter and can trigger the court.
Yeah.
So if they can do that, why can't it trigger an email to say, you haven't sent your driver license in. If you don't do it in 30 days, you will go to court.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right, fine, I've missed that. I can't argue it. I can't fight it. So there you go. It's another taxation.
And Bitcoin, like, even if it's just a little bit, it gets you a little bit more woke. Because maybe in the past you would have said, you know what, I'm such a dummy.
Yeah.
I should have sent the driver's license. I should have read the fine print.
Yeah.
Well, and then you start thinking about it. Bitcoin gives you that little more boost that says, wait a minute.
Fuck you.
Yeah, what's going on here? Like, this is more of a scam than it is, you know, them finding me for doing. Okay, I did something wrong. I paid what it is. But you can't help me with this process. You got this thing kind of, you know, snuck in this extra 600 pounds on me. That's crazy.
Well, it's a £150 fine for the speeding.
Yeah.
Which is something they don't want you to do because there's a risk of crashes and life, right? Okay. But then there's a £600 fine for not sending off your driving license. The disparity is ridiculous. But no, I've started to recognize it now. And it was something Eric Voorhees said to me, because I can't buy into the full anarchist libertarian view at the moment. I think of things like you need property regulations, because if you don't have property regs and a building is built incorrectly and it collapses, people die.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still in that place where the free market might not solve that. Same with like food.
Yeah.
You know, you package food, prepare food wrong, you might kill someone. I'm still in that place where I think, okay, I need little bits like this. But I said to Eric, I said, I can't picture this world, this anarchist libertarian world. And what he said to me was, he said, we don't have to. What we have to do is push for less government. Let's just say for 1 year. Next year, let's reduce the government budget by 1% or 5%.
Yeah.
And let's make progress, because if they do that and stick to that, then they're going to have to change some of their decisions. And that, for me, I think is a much more practical and interesting way to look at this.
Yeah.
But it also, I don't know if you find this, it puts me in a place where I find it very difficult to vote for either party, because I don't want to be in the left class war, and I really don't want to be in this kind of like uncaring right position where it's just kind of like fuck you to everyone. Yeah. So I end up stuck. But there isn't a third option.
You don't have much choice. You don't have much choice, and that's very difficult. Very difficult.
All right, man. Well, so you discovered Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, what was were you pushed to Bitcoin or pulled into Bitcoin? Like, because you said Bear Stearns, they kind of like were pushing you out at the end.
No, I wasn't Bear, because I was at CS at the time, and you know, it was more like they weren't pushing me out. It was more like the business is shrinking.
Right.
So the business is shrinking. It became a different business. The Wall Street that is today, right, is not the Wall Street it used to be, and technology is taking over Wall Street. And consequently, there's less and less seats. And what happens is when you're sitting in a seat, you're making good money, and people on Wall Street make pretty nice money. You're making good money, and you know everybody's fighting for the seats, and then all of a sudden another seat goes. It becomes a lot different place. It becomes, you know, it wasn't like I didn't feel like we were trying to solve problems, moving forward. Like, you know, it was kind of a more adversarial, a lot more like stabbing in the back and stuff like that, which I don't like. I'm not a politician. That's not my style. And it was shrinking. I didn't like what was going on, and it wasn't the same place. Like you were spending most of your time, you know, worried about regulations, or worried about that you don't have a rogue trader. Because now if you're running a desk, you're responsible for your desk, and you can go to jail just like everybody. You know, a guy goes bad on you, you can go to jail too.
Really?
So yeah. You're Series 24. You're the desk. I mean, you could get connected
for neglect.
Neglect and you know, complicitously, and you know, following rules. I mean, they put the fear of God in you. So
is it really easy to break the rules if you want to?
Nah, I mean there's so many rules that, you know, you're gonna trip over something. You know, the Nick Leesons of the world, and you know the rogue traders like that is pretty difficult to do. But you're still worried. Like, you know, you gotta keep an eye on it. I mean, at the end you have to approve every trader's trade, and so you got 1,000 trades. What are you doing? You're not gonna check every line item.
Of course.
Right? So you're just gonna one day you're gonna just close your eyes and say, okay, cross your fingers and say, okay, this looks good to me. Go with it. But it just became a different place. It wasn't a fun place to work anymore. And, this Bitcoin thing came along, and I was like, wow, how can I get into this thing?
Okay.
And I felt very much like, moving out of engineering and into Wall Street, I felt alive, like trying to do something new, something interesting, something I didn't know much about, something that I could learn something new. Like I got to be top 5 oldest guy at Kraken. But I feel like young, man. I feel like I'm skipping to work all the time. I feel great. It's awesome. And it's because of this environment and the youth. And, I remember the first time I went to go interview in San Fran. I'm wearing like this blazer. I got a briefcase. Dude,
what?
You could probably look at me one look, and I'm not a briefcase guy, but I'm trying to play the role. Like, okay, I got it. I got a couple of things. There's nothing in the briefcase, not even a pencil, right? You open up and a moth flies out of the thing. But I'm in there. I'm like, okay, I gotta look good. And somebody, the elevator opens up, and this lady comes and greets me. She's got 2 full sleeves. She's tatted all up. I'm like, obviously, I look like a vacuum salesman or cleaner salesman walking into the place. And it was obvious that I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a different world. But it's so cool, like so many interesting people, youth, like trying to push this forward. Like there's an ethos around the company that, we're trying to bring this to everybody. We're trying to bring this to the masses. And it's just like so rejuvenating, and it's like at a startup feel, like we're fixing problems all the time. There's something new that's going on. I'm on Slack all day, like just because it's exciting. Like there are issues that we have to solve that require attention and that are cool and moving the space forward, moving the company forward, and you're working with a bunch of fun people.
So Kraken's the only company you've worked for in the Bitcoin space.
It's the only company I interviewed for, the only company that really attracted me, because when you're starting to learn about Bitcoin, and when I started in 2015, you spend a couple of years looking and following and stuff like that. I thought Kraken was the place to be.
And did you go straight into the OTC side?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I met some guys that were on the OTC desk, and one thing led to another, because the OTC business is very similar to the businesses that I ran in the past, where it's 24/7. And running a 24/7 operation is no joke.
Yeah.
Like, I got guys trading right now. You see my phone flashing there. It's like those are trades popping up. There's guys that are trading. And whether I'm sleeping or not, there's stuff that's happening. So running a 24 trading operation requires a certain level of expertise. Like, you need to know what you're kind of doing. And this has been done before, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So I brought that with me, and that's pretty much all I brought with me. Like this organizational scheme to try to run a 24-hour trading operation.
All right. Well, listen. Look, I've heard about OTC. Obviously, know what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how it works. Like,
yeah.
It's just this other. Probably because I don't have enough Bitcoin to be using it, but it's just this other part of the industry I don't know much about. So, like, teach me about it. Let's learn about it. It's like the starting point. Just explain to me how OTC works.
Sure. So OTC is a 24/7 trading operation. And what we do is we target bigger trades. So anything 100,000 or above, dollars or above, you probably want to maybe talk to us or think about us. And why that is because when you come to us and you're going to do a big, larger trade, we are hooked up to all the exchanges. We take risk. We're much more efficient in the sense that you come to us, we're not going to move the market on you because we spread the trade around, and we're going to price it much more efficiently than you would if you were going to an individual exchange to do it.
Right. So if I wanted to buy, like, I don't know, I want to buy 100 Bitcoin. That's about 100,000, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I want to buy 100 Bitcoin and I went via an exchange, am I going to move the market potentially, or is it like higher trades than that? Is it more
100 Bitcoin, 800,000. So it's a lot. But so you would come to us and you would say, hey, I'm looking to buy 100 Bitcoin. Where would you offer it? And we have a trader that would say, okay, I offer it at this price. And you look, it'll be pretty, the market's become very, very efficient in these last couple of years. So you'd be surprised at how close to the mid price you're going to get quoted. And if you like the price, you say, okay, done.
Okay.
And then what will happen is probably best to take a step back. Yeah. So how are we structured? We're structured very much like a foreign exchange desk, 24-hour foreign exchange desk. So we have a group of traders in the Americas, we have a group of traders in Asia, and we have a group of traders in European time. So we follow the sun. So as we go through the day, at the end of say 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening Eastern time, we pass on there's a handoff that happens, and that handoff means that the Asia traders come in and they pick up and they start dealing with the customers. Then we go another, 9 hours, and then the European guys come in and they pick up, and we keep on going. We keep on handing off from one place to the other. As far as clients themselves, in order for you to be a client, you have to be a pro account at Kraken, which is what we used to call a tier 4 account, which is the highest level of KYC ML. And you come to us and you get, depending on who you are, you can do it in a day, but you get verified, and then you're allowed to trade. There's pretty much few rules that we have. One is that you're a pro account. The size of the trade matters. Obviously you don't want to come to us if you're going to do 1 or 2 Bitcoin. That doesn't make any sense. But if you're doing bigger sizes, you come to us. The name that you use on the account has to be the name that we send proceeds to back and forth. I have to say that because it's amazing how many times. Well, I own the company, Nelly. Why can't I just move from this account to the other? I was like, dude, I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
Can't help you avoid taxes that way. Whatever you're trying to do that. So the name of the account has to be the same. So the beneficiary has to be the same as the account that you uploaded on, regardless of whether you own the company or not. And those are pretty much the only rules that we have. And then you come to us. We set up a channel. We love WhatsApp and Signal because we feel like that those are more secure than the other forms of communication. So that's how things normally are set up.
But if I ping you now and I'm like, I want to buy 100 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You come back to me with a price.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, okay, do it. From the point of I said yes to actually completing the purchase, how quick is that?
Well, it depends. If you're sending a wire.
So you need the cash first.
Yeah. We always second settle.
All right.
We always second settle, and trust me, like the OTC desk, you should see the amount of scammers that we have to deal with. Like we're at the crosshairs of hackers and scammers and all that stuff.
All right, we'll come to the scammers, but say the wire hits you, and then how quickly?
Well, if you're set up like on the Send network or something like that, it could be instantaneous. You push a button, you call your bank and say, I'm going to ship them the money. It shows up.
Is that Silvergate?
Yeah, Silvergate Bank. Yeah,
I had Alan Lane on.
Yeah,
good guy. All right, so the money hits the thing. Do you then have to re-quote the price?
No. The price is locked. Once we say done to a price, say where is it trading? 8,600.
But what if there's like 20, 30 minutes and the price slips?
No, that's fine. That's you lock in the price. That's another benefit. Your price is locked in. Say you lock in the price and you don't have the money. Now, we have to have that relationship with you, right?
Yeah.
Already, and we trust you and whatever. The first trade is probably going to have to be pre-funded. If I don't know you, you come in out of the street and say, I want to do this trade. I'm going to say, whoa,
okay.
Pre-fund it. But if I know you and we got a relationship together, the price is locked. Once we say done to a trade, we are committed to you. Whatever, if the price goes up 30% or down 30%, you're getting that price.
Right, but have you already bought the Bitcoin?
Well, we'll hedge it. We have positions. The way we're set up, we are principal. What does principal mean instead of agency? Principal means that we take risk. Okay. Like when you come to us, I don't know what you're going to do, but the second I say done the trade, I assume that risk for you. And I will go out and hedge it. Or we might have a position, or we might like the position, and we might write it. We're not... I don't believe in much in prop in this business because I think that, Bitcoin is I've traded a lot of volatile stuff, nasty stuff. Bitcoin is the hardest thing. I can't tell you where the price is going to be the next day.
Yeah.
I really can. And anybody that tells you they can is either a god or a liar because this stuff is hard.
But how do you manage that risk then?
Well, we hedge it. We hedge it on all different exchanges. We a lot of times, this has been happening more and more frequently, but you might be coming in to buy 100 Bitcoin, and another guy might be coming in to sell 80.
And you just match.
Yeah. It just happens to be that way, or we just got hit on some, and we're like, oh, right, now Peter wants to buy it. Boom, we're going to sell it to him. And the difference between where we buy and we sell is where we make the money.
And is there a maximum size trade? Like if I come in and
but also you don't want to move the market. Like, we've had situations where we've had big buyers come in and listen, you want to do that size, we're probably off doing it in lots. And okay. Because the price that we would have to give you in order for us to, be comfortable with the risk, at least where we don't get our heads taken off, is probably a price you're not willing to say. You're better off just doing it in chunks. So we've had trades where we've taken 2 weeks to execute the entire trade, but we do it for guys coming in to buy. We say, hey, listen, wait till the market drops a little bit. I don't think there's any rush to buy here, and the market hasn't been behaving that well. Wait till it drops a little bit, buy the dip. And we'll do that. So we'll buy, 500, 600 a day for them until they build a position where they want to get it to.
And what kind of premium are they paying for this?
It's very tight. I mean, we're within basis points. Like we're not, it depends on the volatility of the market. Like if you're coming to me and all of a sudden we have one of those days where we're up 15%, and the thing is zooming and we're like chasing Bitcoin and we can't find any, like that might be a different price and the margins are bigger for that because just we don't know what things are going. But in the most part, in stable markets, it's amazingly tight. And the spreads have collapsed. In just the 2 years that I've been doing it, spreads have collapsed.
Yeah, I've heard about this, like chasing Bitcoin, can't find any Bitcoin. Is that? I mean, there's always Bitcoin on an exchange, right?
Yeah, but it becomes very thin. Like the those sell walls that you see all of a sudden disappear. It's amazing how quickly they disappear. And a lot of it's because there's like bots up there putting prices, and all of a sudden these things move. And these, there's fail safes on these things. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to be able to buy these Bitcoins. You blink, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's no Bitcoin out there. You got to start chasing. I mean, there's always some, but there's a price. Right? There's always Bitcoin. There's a price.
Next up, I talked to Nelson more about Kraken's OTC desk and institutions' interest in Bitcoin. But before that, I do have a message from my amazing sponsors. So first up, we have the mighty Kraken, the best place to buy and sell Bitcoin. And have you downloaded their new mobile app yet? Have you checked it out? Why not? Why the fuck not? They've absolutely crushed it with this app. It's beautiful. It's easy to use. The UX is absolutely amazing. And they've got so much packed into it. They've got real-time price updates. They've got multiple charting and order book display options. They've got advanced trading features. You can go long or short on 8 different cryptocurrencies. And they've got up to 5x with margin trading. You can open and close your positions in bulk at just a few taps. And they've got advanced order types. You can also view a complete history of your orders, trades, positions, deposits, and withdrawals. And the app comes with fees as low as 0% and 24/7, 365 global customer support. No excuse. Go and check it out. It's available for iPhone and Android. Just search for Kraken Pro, which is KrakenPro. And lastly, but never least, is BlockFi this week. And I love this team. I love everything they're doing. My longest sponsor. It's been like 15 months now we've been working together. They've always supported the show, and I absolutely love them for it. But have you checked them out yet? Have you used either of their products? They have their loans, but they also have their interest accounts, of which I am a customer. I caught up with the team recently in New York. I find out what other stuff's come in. I tell you what, they are going to have a smashing 2020. They are going to absolutely kill it. If you haven't checked out their interest accounts, they've dropped minimum deposits. Interest account holders no longer have to meet a minimum deposit amount in their Bitcoin, Ether, or GUSD balances to get interest. They have also removed the early withdrawal penalty from the account and now offering 1 free withdrawal per month for all clients. Add to this their announcement of BlockFi Flex, where you can choose to receive your interest payment as a currency of your choice. There is so much happening with this business. If you're interested in trying it out, as I said, I'm a customer. I love getting my interest every month. But you should do your own research and then head over to blockfi.com, which is BLOCKFI.com. Has the kind of customer changed over the years?
One of the things where I really thought was going to happen, and maybe because I came from the institutional world, I thought we were going to see a lot more institutions come in and buy through us. And that hasn't been the case. And I think I just was made a mistake in the sense that these guys are going to face like the Backs of the worlds, the Fidelities of the worlds, and where they already have channels set up. And once they've gone through the process of understanding Bitcoin, it's not like they're going to be able to put it on their Trezor and say, yeah, I'm going to own this for this hedge fund and put it on this Trezor and do it. And no hedge fund is set up to take up assets like that and have it, lying around, have, a couple thousand Bitcoins lying around our trades and say, yeah, that's our position and we're going to do it like that. So I underestimated that. I even hired a guy that was a friend of mine from Wall Street that, knew everybody. Like he was, spent a long time on Wall Street, had very high positions. And, he had a hard time knocking on doors and trying to get people to come in, just because they're not ready already. But also it's the way the custody issues and things like that are going to happen. So for us, it's much more of a retail business, but like wealthy clients, OGs that been around, trading around. So we got guys that put around a couple hundred Bitcoin and say, Nelly, if it gets to $8,000, I'm going to buy some. And then it gets to $10,000, I'm going to sell them, and they do that all day. because they're playing around with the company. They're trying to increase their thumb. They think they can, do it. And some of them do very well trading stuff around.
Are you ever not able to close a position because there's just not the Bitcoin there, or you have to go back and say, look, we can only get you half of what you want?
Yeah, well, everything has a price, right?
Okay,
I mean, if you come in looking for 1,000, and I'm not going to say I'll sell them to you at 20 grand a coin when things are trading at 8,600. So there's a balance there, and it depends on the market conditions. I can't sit here and give you an estimate. I can't sell you more than 2,000 coins. Well, it depends on the market conditions for me to say that. So it's not but most of the time people are reasonable. They understand. They trust us. Once they have a relationship with us and they get us going and stuff like that, they open up a little bit. We start working bigger sizes. So we can always find it. You can always find Bitcoin. We always got a place to sell and always got a place to buy it.
I guess with this is that for you guys, it really does bring to the forefront the scarcity of the asset, right?
Yes, for sure. And we talk about this sometimes when talking about Bitcoin. It's some of these rallies are not as much like FOMO rallies per se. It's almost like hodling golem things, because people, how it is when you got your Bitcoin and things starts rallying. Like you start believing the guys that think it's going to 200,000, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have a view. I have a view that it's going to go 2x next year, but I don't. I think those pie in the sky numbers are out there. They're out there, but I don't think no way. The weight of the chain is going to push those prices down. No way. But when you see this thing starts rallying, and then you start hearing all those quotes that you've heard over the years, like you start it was Gollum from Lord of the Rings, you're like, precious, my precious. You start you start rubbing your trays, you start carrying them around,
Do you get like a feeling though for how the market is moving from the OTC desk? Do you get a better impression there?
We watch Bitcoin price every second.
Right.
Like, do we get a better impression from that? There have been some altcoins you really can move the market a lot, right? There's thin markets. With Bitcoin, it's pretty there's some depth. But sometimes, you'll get a bunch of clients coming in one way. And, there might be some news out, or, there's just a feeling that this thing's going higher, and, something, the walls are kind of shrinking. Sometimes you get that feel. Sometimes you do, actually. And it's sitting in OTC for sure. Not all the time, though. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, the guys are asking me, Nelly, what's going on? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. What are you looking at me for?
Can you get a flood though? Like, if something happens, you get a flood of calls. Does your phone just start going crazy? A load of people come on now.
Oh yeah, for sure. When there's volatility in Bitcoin, that's when we're busy.
Right.
Like that's the time. That's the time where we're all men on deck.
Are you OTC in altcoins as well?
Yeah, we do. We'll trade anything that's on the exchange.
Right.
And now we've done other stuff as well. We've traded like Grin, for instance. But for the most part, 99.9% of the stuff that we trade is the same things that Kraken trades.
Right. Okay. And how much does Bitcoin dominate it?
Oh, it's huge, and it's this past year has been increasing.
Really?
But I want to say 8 out of 10 trades are Bitcoin trades.
Wow. So that's 8 out of 10 trades, but in terms of values, probably...
It's probably 90 plus.
Wow. All right, man. And you also said there's you are a focal point for scammers. How much are you dealing with them?
Well, if you take a step back and think about it, right? We're doing the size. We move a lot of coins, and we move a lot of dollars, right? So for a scammer, that's where they're gonna try to hit up. And you'd be surprised the ways they do it. And I mean, we got a badass security team. Mm-hmm. Nick P.
Yeah, Nick's great.
He's awesome. The guy's a stud. And his team, some of his guys on his team are even better, And I got a lot of respect for those guys. Like some of the hiring that they've done has been spectacular. It gets a little crazy sometimes. You see me, I'm walking around with free phones, and you keep your personal stuff away from the stuff. So Nelson something else, and what I am at Kraken in an exchange is something totally different. It's not even a name. So, we do a very good job of that, and we're always aware, and we're always, and even on my team now, I have guys that were worked in the security field and kind of wanted to do OTC trading, and we keep a pretty tight ship. It's I thought coming out of Wall Street, we're Wall Street, we keep security, Wall Street are rookies compared to these guys.
Yeah, we have to be, man.
Yeah.
The honeypot.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I interviewed Nick a few months back, and I just said to him, I think I said to him, I don't know how you sleep, because
He doesn't.
yeah. Well, I'm just like, if someone gets into this and they steal this, they get away with a lot, and there's no getting this back.
Yeah. But if you do it right, it's very secure. I mean, when it, it's like that meme with the tracer on top of a stack of gold. It's the math. The math is there. Like if you're encrypted and you do all those things. I mean, it's, we're not too far away from the Federal Reserve of New York, where they got a lot of gold underneath there. In a lot of ways, because of the math, a private key is more secure than all the vaults that they have and all the guards they have roaming around that place.
Yeah, I'd rather fight a private key than a gun, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the sell side the same? Is it just a reverse trade, or is there something different involved when somebody wants to sell a lot via you?
No, it's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same thing. I'll give you an example, and this is a prime example of a client. Just before you got here, I had a buddy, somebody we all know. He said, "Hey, my dad's looking to sell some Bitcoin for, he's doing something to the house, but adding remodeling or something like that." And he called me, "Can you take care of him? I'm at the airport. Can you take care of him?" And those are the type of people that we kind of specialize in.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
but he's looking to sell, and we took care of him, and that's it.
And how much competition is there?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
So how do you differentiate yourself? Is it just service?
For us, there's a couple of things that make us a little different. I think we provide very good service. We focus on that. Like that's our big thing. The other thing is that I think we reached out to a lot more people, because it's, we have, I don't know, like 40 account managers globally, and they're all aware of OTC. So if they have big clients that might benefit from OTC services or might need them for one reason or the other, they're telling them, "Hey, why don't you go down and talk to the OTC desk?" And who's got that? Who's got a sales force of 40 people globally? Mm-hmm. I got a sales force. I got 2 guys, but I also got this other account management group that sends stuff our way too. And what they're trying to do is just provide the best service to the client. Whether, okay, maybe this trade doesn't make sense for you on the exchange, or maybe it does. They'll tell them, do it on the exchange. Don't bother with those guys. Or they'll say, "Listen, this is a trade you probably want these guys to get involved in."
Do you have like an indication of how much of the market is OTC?
There used to be rumors that like we did a lot more flow, and sometimes like some of the altcoins that might be the case. But, I can't imagine that there's so much volume going through the exchanges now that we're in the same, like we're minimal compared to what the exchanges are doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some days and some coins that we actually do large size, and sometimes we'll move the market. I could see it. I could see us like, we got a big size here, and, we'll move the market. But for the most part, we're not in the same ballpark as the exchanges. Exchanges are doing a lot of flow.
Right, okay. All right, man. So you've been... Was it 2015 you joined Kraken?
Yeah. No. I didn't join Kraken until the end of 2017.
Right. So you've done coming up to 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. So you've got 2 years in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the split between Nelson, the Bitcoiner, and Nelson, the guy who works for Kraken? Like, are you fully in anyway on Bitcoin? Like, are you sold,
yeah, man. This is like, I'm the crazy maniac. At the end of my Wall Street days, I mean, people would see me coming down coming down the desk, and they'd be like, "Oh, just don't talk to me about Bitcoin." I was maniac of it. I mean, I got hooked. I got totally hooked in it. And
do you still talk to those guys?
Yeah, it was funny when I left. Like, people were like, "Nelly, you going through a midlife crisis, man? Are you want to leave this job? I'm like, are you crazy?
For Bitcoin?
Yeah, for Bitcoin? Are you nuts? Like, man, you got kids to feed. Like, you wake up, man. What are you doing, man? You went off and bought a Corvette or something?" I'm like, "No, man, this is it. This is the future." And they're like, I don't know about that. And of course, like, when the Bitcoin price dropped when we were back in Vegas, the amount of texts that I got from my buddies, man, they genuinely were looking out for me. Like, "Dude, are you okay? Like, this thing looks like it's going to hell, man." And it did at the time. I'm like, "Dad, don't worry about it, my man. I'm fine. I'm stacking more sats. Don't worry about me."
Did you convert any of them?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I have. Some of my best friends I have converted, but it took a while. It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy to convert people into Bitcoin. And it's this Trojan horse, really.
Dude, I throw it out there. Like, I put my interviews out there, stick them up on Facebook. I'll get one question every couple of months. And it's always the same question.
Yeah.
Should I buy some Bitcoin? I'm like, just listen to the show, learn about it, maybe buy a bit, hold on to it for 10 years, get a bit as you go. But it doesn't matter what you tell people, they don't buy into it. I don't know why it's such a leap from hearing about it to believing in it. I think it's so different, right?
It is, and there's a lot of obstacles to it. Like explaining it. Like I found little tricks too, like to explain it to get people to do it. Because when you first talk about Bitcoin, for instance, here's one example. Like, how do I get it? How do I know it's mine? Well, they start thinking like coins, like in their head, and like this treasure, and like they got to go to a bank and pick it up and put it in their pocket. Well, Bitcoin is not something that is a push system, not a pull system, right? So it's something that exists out there, and only you can move it. Right? It's not like I'm going to pick up this Bitcoin, put it in my pocket, and go spend it. It sits on a chain, and you have an address, and only you can move it from that address. But I've learned to use things like that, like pull versus push, to try to explain it, to try to get it for people to start understanding, because I see the obstacles, the speed bumps that exist to getting it. But it's still, despite all that, and besides making people's ears bleed, trying to explain it to them, is still done. But people start coming around. Like, my family members, like a couple of Thanksgivings ago, they were throwing forks at me, and now we're sitting at the table, and like, things are changing. Like, well, hey Nelly, how's this Bitcoin thing? I bought myself a couple on Kraken, and like, what do you think where the price is going? And I was like, wait a minute, you were the same guy last year you're throwing a fork at me. Like, what's up now?
Wait 10 years, got to be patient.
Exactly.
It's always the same though. I always say to people, you got to wait 10 years. You can't just forget the price now. You can't because of your job. I don't check the price. I only know the price when people put it up on Twitter. I never check anymore. I find it's a lot more healthy for me. You can't though. Gotta.
But even like when I go to a Kraken office, that's one of the first things that I know. When I was first there, I they have like Crypto Watch up there, and everybody's looking at where the price is and all that. They're not looking at the prices, but they have it up, and I would stare at the price because that's what I do. And people were walking by, and that day I remember it was a day that we took a long drop, and nobody's talking about it. It's like the longer you're in this thing, the more certain you become that it's going to be something you don't worry about what the next 5% are doing. Yeah. You just don't. And people, like, we have like things that internally where we get paid in Bitcoin, and people just stack their sats nice and easy. They keep working hard. They keep, we're all working to bring this thing to the masses. And our time preferences have changed, so we're willing to wait. We know what's going to happen.
Well, it's what Andreas says. Andreas says the best way to get Bitcoin is to earn it.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, that's only just started to click for me.
Yeah,
I do it part. So some of my invoices to my sponsors, I'll get part. I'll get it in Bitcoin, and I'll keep part of it. And that's the last bit of Bitcoin I'm going to sell. Of all the Bitcoin I'm going to sell, that's the last one.
But it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because even my business, like I pride myself like growing this business, and we're having all these traders globally and working toward making providing the infrastructure to take this to the next level. But at the same time, the guys that I'm working with, every day, shoulder to shoulder, 10 hours a day with, we're working on getting more Bitcoin for ourselves too. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're creating this machine to not only, create more infrastructure for the general population, but we're creating this machine that creates more Bitcoin for more hodlers like ourselves. And it's pretty cool. It's a great feeling.
So what's your feel on Wall Street, right? We're not far from it here, to be honest. We're not far from Wall Street, dude.
I can walk there.
You can walk there. My run, I nearly got down there this morning, but we're not far from Wall Street, right? There's a lot of Bitcoin in New York, right? There's a lot of talk about Bitcoin. Yeah. There's a lot of Bitcoiners here. If we forget about Ben Lawsky's bullshit for a bit.
Well, the Bitcoin Center was right on Broad Street, right on the corner wall in Broad, right there.
Spanos, right?
Yeah, those guys.
I need to talk to that dude.
By the way, a lot of those guys, work at Kraken,
Right. I need to talk to Nick. I really do.
His office is right up the street.
Is it?
His office is on Prince. Yeah, I can show. He's got an office there.
I got to go and see that guy.
Yeah.
But why do you think there hasn't been this explosion of adoption by Wall Street? Why is it that why are they still... I know back volumes are growing. I know there is the very slow institutional interest, but really there hasn't been the expected explosion. Why?
That's a fantastic question, and one that I rack my brains with. When I was on Wall Street, I was like, guys, you guys are missing it. And I was on the inside and I couldn't get it. The thing is, though, that this is still, they talk about intrinsic value and all that. I was with one of the biggest portfolio managers on the planet playing golf. And I was trying to convince him on it. And he couldn't get over the fact that, the intrinsic value. Yeah. He couldn't get over that fact. But then when I step back and look at it, right, if you're one of these portfolio managers, you really, put in this fake internet money in a portfolio. You think about it, you spent you probably got your CFA, you might have got your MBA, you probably worked as an analyst for decades before getting that sweet gig, becoming a portfolio manager, the thing that you wanted. Now you got this big place up in Westchester. People listen to you when you talk. You got all this respect, and you've earned it. Like, there's no doubt. Like, in order to get that seat, you worked your ass off.
Yeah.
But are you going to risk? You're going to roll the dice with this thing that you can probably become the laughing stock. I felt it. People thought I was kooky going into this thing. Like, friends of mine are like, "Hey, Nully, you sure you know what you're doing? You're not going to put this in a portfolio that can possibly go to zero, and you're not going to risk your reputation by doing it. It takes a maverick. It takes somebody that thinks out of the box to do it.
Even the 1%, put 1% of the portfolio in, still risky.
Because these guys are all fighting for a couple basis points, right? These guys are fighting against ETFs. Like, the difference between one portfolio manager and another one, unless it's a hedge fund and these guys are just taking big swings, but the difference between the guy managing a portfolio at XYZ big portfolio management firm versus, ABC is a few basis points. So this thing can make a difference. And not only that, but it's a reputation. Like, because can you imagine Bitcoin goes to zero? How many people are like, wait a minute, you put my pension money into Bitcoin and you lost me 1% because you put this thing in this crazy internet money? I'm out. I'm taking my money out. And that's what'll happen, and that's how you get shot.
How does that get bridged, though?
It's the young people that are bringing it up. It's those people that like anti-state and banks that spent a year at Zuccotti Park. Now all of a sudden starting to get influence in the world. And it's also the quants, the techs, that understand the math, understand what this is. Those are the guys, when they start getting influence and power, those are the guys that are going to bring it in because they understand it. Right. And they get it. Because it's not, you take the average age of the person in Kraken. It's decades younger than the average person at a PIMCO or an Alliance or at a Fidelity, like these big portfolio managers. Like, the guys running the show at those places are decades older than the guys running the show at these places. When we start making that shift and, you get this, it's a different ethos. It's a skepticism of banks, of the state, and an embrace of technology. That combination is what's going to bring it, and people are going to start saying, wait a minute, you got an uncorrelated asset, ridiculous historical returns, right? That's scarce. You can't make any more of it. Wow, you got to slap a couple of percentage points in the portfolio on this thing. And those are the guys that are going to bring it to those. But it's going to take time. And, it's also a maturation. Like, you go through this process of Bitcoin, like we were talking about. But one part of the process is realizing that this ain't going to happen overnight. Like, I thought, wow, the light's going to go off on everybody. I better get in fast. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. It's part of the process of learning, understanding it, embracing it, and getting comfortable with it.
Well, if you think what happened in 2017, I mean, I was like end of 16, early 17. I also was involved in Bitcoin in 13, but forgot about it because I lost a shitload. But if you think about it, there was like a hype, and Dan Hell talks about this. Who's now Kraken, actually.
Yeah,
he talks about
he
talks about it like the bull runs as like a marketing loop, right? You have a bull run, a bunch of people come in, they discover a Bitcoin, some get wrecked, some don't, and some stick around, and some don't. Yep. It's almost like we're waiting for that next one to bring the next round of people in. I guess the fear is for Wall Street. If these people come too late, if they FOMO in, like, they could screw up like everyone else does. They could come in late, put in those couple of percentage points, and could they come in at 50K and it drops to 20, 15? Like, that's a risk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But they know about things like that. Like, if they understand that, they understand volatility. So a lot of these places they scale in.
So they have
and we're talking, some of these portfolio managers are actually managing billions and billions of dollars. So they're not going to write the check. The way it works is, okay, you do all the work, you understand an asset, you convince your firm that you're going to add this asset to your portfolio. You don't push a button and all of a sudden you go from 0 to 2%.
Right, okay.
The market probably couldn't take that to begin with. And second, you scale in, and there's methods that they use to scale in that do it. So it's not going to happen like that.
So that's like a Wall Street dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, exactly.
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 So it's kind of interesting. I mean, what's the average age of these portfolio managers? Are these people in their 50s?
For sure. I mean, it's got 40 plus, I would think, some of these guys.
So it's almost like, what's the point of risking the end of my career?
Exactly. And you got that nice Westchester joint, you got the kids, you're saving up for them to go to college, and you don't want to rock the boat. So you're just trying to beat the next guy by a couple basis points.
Can you easily be cut out then if you make a big mistake?
No, once you got that seat, you're pretty safe. But you got to make a really bonehead move in order to get kicked out of there.
Right, and does it affect your bonus?
Well, if you a lot of them are performance based, but
Right.
we're talking just beating the next guy, bidding it. You got to beat the S&P index by a certain amount of basis when you get paid. And they get paid. I think the most important thing that they get paid up before is because the assets under management. So they're attracting assets. They're going out. They're selling something, right? They want more assets under management. That's the big number, right? That's their show off. They wear it like a sergeant wears stripes on his shoulder. I manage 70 trillion, whatever, or some ridiculous number like that.
Do you reckon any of them are doing it, though? Or do you know of any of them that are doing it? Is anyone down there?
Doing what?
Let's buy into Bitcoin. Or is it like just a blanket?
I think PA. I think a lot of them are because you're this portfolio manager. You probably got a team, and you probably got some quants on the team. And you got a couple kids from MIT helping you out, manage your portfolio, making sure your Sharpe ratio is right, and all these other things. And the kids probably convinced them, like, dude, you should put a couple of these in your PA.
What's that, like a personal account?
Yeah, personal account, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sure that happens. I'm sure some of them are. But that's the first step, right? If you start putting your PA, you start watching and doing, and you probably start convincing your friends, you start talking to your boss about it,
right.
You start convincing them, and they have investment committees. So you gotta, before you bring in a new asset like this, you're gonna have to put it in front of the investment committee. And now you got even older guys that you got, you got guys rolling in. So you have to convince those guys that this is an asset that you want to put in your portfolio.
It's the Trading Places guys. Do you remember that film?
Yeah, you got those guys saying, what? Yeah, you got to put Bitcoin? What? You crazy?
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, look, what's coming up for you, dude? What's coming up with Kraken and the OTC desk?
No, we got a lot of cool stuff, we were looking at, and I think broadening out our product is a big part of it. Kraken's always doing good. They just came out with the app,
Yeah, man. Kraken Pro.
Yeah, blog.kraken.com. I mean, there's the Kraken Pro 5x margin on there. So there's a lot of cool stuff, man. I mean, Kraken Jesse's really doing a great job of bringing this company to the next level. And the team that he's got a strategy team now, and they're helping him look at where's the next opportunity. Right. And they got a war chest, and he's using it to bring this asset class to the next level. And as far as the OTC desk, we're looking at new products to try to get into. We're not going to be able to just trade Bitcoin. That's not enough. We got to do other stuff, and we're working on that slowly but surely.
And are you missing Wall Street at all?
I miss some of my friends. I still follow some markets and stuff like that. Do I miss the job? Hell no. It was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I am so happy. I haven't been this happy in a long time.
What is that? Is it just different environment, less stress?
I feel like it's just all new, and it's different type of stress. It's a stress like I'm building something, instead of just doing the same old job.
And you feel part of the company, right?
Oh, for sure, man. I'm in.
All right, man. Well, listen. Always good to see you, man.
Dude, you're the man, dude, and I'm so happy with your success, man. I remember before you had three assistants. You know what I mean?
I wish I had said. Do you know what? I've got a producer engineer now, and that's been a massive change in that I finish a show, this will be done.
Yeah.
I'll upload it for him. He'll get it all prepped. He'll write my scripts. 2 days later, I'll record the scripts. That goes up. He does everything else now.
What's his name?
His name's Danny.
Danny, made me sound good, dude.
Danny will make you sound good. He'll cut out the ums and the ahs. But do you know what it's done for me? It means now I can do this other show. So I used to be able to do 2-3 shows a week at max. I can now do 5. I can do more work because I've got, I'm scaling, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thanks. But look, it's been great to get to know you. I consider you a friend now, man.
Yeah, of
I
course,
love the
man.
lunch
My
we
buddy.
had. Anything you ever need, you can reach out to me.
Oh, you're the man, dude. I'm so happy with what you're doing, and keep up the good work, man. We're gonna bring this to the masses, man. People are gonna wake up for this.
Well, I hope so. I hope they listen to my show.
For sure.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, you too, man.
Okay, so what did you think of that? Did you enjoy that? Nelson's always great. Always love catching up with him. One of my favorite people I've met in the space. Just a really good dude. And it was also great for hearing about OTC desks with him. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be one of the ones buying or selling hundreds of Bitcoins. So the OTC desks are not part of the business that I know very much about. So it was great to get Nelson on, great to hear about this side of the industry. And as always, thanks for listening. If you did like this show, I would also recommend going to check out my interview with Nick Pacocco, episode 129, where we talk about the security side of things as well, because that was a fascinating conversation, and some of this relates back to the one with Nelson. If you've got any feedback, you can reach out to me. It's hello@whatbitcoindid.com. And again, thank you as ever, always, to everyone who supports the show. Seriously, I love you all. Thank you so much. Every review, every sponsor, every listener, everyone who shares my shows out on Twitter. I mean, this week, my interview with Jamie Bartlett's been shared out so many times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But if you are a listener and you haven't done anything and you want to help, just head over to my website. It's whatbitcoindid.com. Click on the support section and that will explain everything you can do. As I said, tomorrow I'm going to be heading out to Austin, then San Fran, LA, maybe Hawaii, Washington, and then back to New York and home. Hopefully I'll get to see some of you in some of these places. Anyway, have a great week. See you all soon. Love you all. Thank you to everyone who helped with the show.